This is why you need to read Daniel L. Hatcher's Injustice, Inc. How America's System Commodifies Children and the Poor. It exposes the disturbing reality of the justice system in the United States. The fact that it not only harshly punishes citizens for living in poverty, but simultaneously profits from it, and has been since the colonial days and the founding of America. The very systems we are taught to trust, to practice fairness, ethics, and neutrality, contradict these foundations every day. The very institutions built to protect citizens, including the poor, instead are financially incentivized at a systemic level to target poor communities. This book will force you to reevaluate the ways you think about poverty, inequality, and justice within society. One of the central issues Hatcher exposes is the exploitation within the juvenile court system. In nearly all 50 states within the country, courts receive federal funding, specifically IVE funds, for pushing children out of their homes and funneling them through the foster care system. In many counties, the kickback they receive from this financial incentive covers more than half of the court's total budget. They can even still profit simply by labeling a child as a potential foster care candidate. Children deemed eligible often are simply poor and are not in immediate danger from living at home with their parents. What does this mean? It means that children are forcibly removed from their homes and separated from their parents unnecessarily, undergoing psychological displacement and separation trauma, simply so that juvenile courts can profit off of them. With these reward funds, a child's trauma serves to support court staff salaries, administrative assistants, receptionists, utilities and supplies, liability insurance, and much more. These revenue strategies exponentially impact children of color, especially Black children and families. Meanwhile, parents do not receive adequate access to resources and services to help them become financially stable, in many cases permanently severing any chance of being eligible to get their children back without making the difficult climb out of poverty. This is an example of structural inequality, where in this case institutions are intentionally designed to extract value from marginalized minorities and perpetually trapping them in poverty. Hatcher also extensively demonstrates how prosecutors are involved in the for-profit justice system. Legal cases pertaining to child neglect or abuse are seized as opportunities to further generate revenue. Hatcher details examples of contracts in states like Michigan and Ohio that implement contracts designed to allow for fund enhancements. Simultaneously, prosecutors can aggressively pursue already vulnerable families for a plethora of fines and fees related to the case and its penalties. This is an example of the criminalization of poverty, where families that are poor cannot fiscally avoid the penalties, fees, and other financial consequences of getting tied up in legal matters. It also demonstrates how labeling someone as unruly or delinquent, especially as a child or teen, can follow them for life and keep them permanently tied to the legal system. Law enforcement also plays an instrumental role in the for-profit justice system in the United States, and are not shy about the brutality and coldness one must possess in order to make it in law enforcement. Hatcher details how a city marshal describes delivering an eviction notice to a single mother with 3 young children in the middle of a snowstorm in New York City, and witnesses her fall to her knees and cry at the news. Hatcher states that the marshal explained that if you can't handle that, then you're not cut out for the profession. Police departments, sheriffs, and city marshals generate a large chunk of revenue through evictions, utility shutoffs, fines, and enforcement actions such as license suspensions, foreclosures, and vehicle repossessions. Hatcher states that law enforcement profits Schenectady County $300,000 a year from evictions alone, and they thrive during times of crisis, such as the 2008 recession. This is an example of the social reproduction of inequality. Law enforcement helps maintain poverty's prevalence by profiting from punishing families, as this often affects their ability to get and maintain